Circuit 42 would like to thank Pop Culture Paradise, Toy Anxiety, the Spawn Point Gamers Lounge, and Dragon's Lair San Antonio.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Super Circuit Brothers. I am here with me, the greatest person in the universe, Ian McIntosh, and Shane. He fights werewolves with laser cannons.
Don't oversell
It's
it.
a portal gun, you Philistine.
I know it's a portal gun. I'm just mean.
Yes, you are.
So, we have some other people here. A variety of people that we kidnapped off the street and forced them to be in our station. So, Shane, who are those people?
Yes, today's a very special episode of Super Circuit Brothers. We're putting down the controllers, getting some character sheets ready, and emptying our Trial Royal bags full of game science, because we have some of the stars of a podcast called These Warriors Are Terrible, an amazingly funny role-playing game podcast. So let's go around the table and introduce everybody. Let's start with the familiar face to Circuit 42. From This Week in Geek, Review a Day, friend of the show, Mike the Birdman Dodd.
Greetings, mortals! Hi, it's Mike Dodd. It's Birdman. What's up?
Birdman, get in here.
Da, 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 da.
I had
Hey.
to do it. I had to do it just once. And speaking of big, awesome guys named Mike, we
Subtle.
have here,
It's a segue!
yes, we have here a man who is not only an inspiration for me to get into improv, but also a man who I have made it my ambition to be in a game that he GMs because
You're
he's
gonna
a master.
die.
He truly is a master.
The Lord Jesus Christ?
Oh, wow.
From the eastern faction of the 404s, masterful GM. I've called you master way too much. It's Big Mike Chindamo.
I am blushing now, sir. Oi.
And he's got a little bit of a chub.
Oh, shut up, Dodd.
Watch out, you'll make his ego bigger yet.
That's not all. That's
It's so big that it will consume us all!
Ah, damn it, man.
You see, it's a reference to an erection. We don't know if you got that, audience. We got to explain it a little further.
Haven't even finished introing everyone, and we're already going off the rails. So moving
Also,
on.
Birdman is not Mike's real middle name. We don't know if you know that.
it's true. I should
I
legally
can't-
change it to that.
Anyway,
Change
Next
to a
up.
symbol.
next up, we have a man who proves that having a bard in your party is always a good idea. From
Me?
Chasing the Muse, Better Off Red, What We Watched, and Let's Go Henshin, it's Derek the Bard.
I
Let's
get
go.
it.
Attention! Hi, guys. Wow. It's really dark in this place that they pulled us off the streets onto. I can smell mold and hear dripping water and rats. I had to catch a rat and eat it in order to survive. Please help. Give them whatever they want. Tell my wife that I love her. Oh God, it's dark in here.
Oh, yeah, you got married. I forgot about that.
Oh, they're like, wow, now we regret kidnapping you.
All of a sudden,
Well,
this whole
that
puppet
lovely
on tricycle
sentiment-
pulls up.
That lovely sentiment came from our next guest, who is quite a vibrant fellow. It's Toronto's greatest supervillain. We know him as Conor Macbeth, but the world shall know him as Dr. Holocaust.
Greetings and welcome, brave citizens of our new world. I am, as you said, Dr. Holocaust, and this is a small, dingy area. I think I may have used this for capturing people. Is this like a service area? Can you rent this one out to other people?
We're in the timeshare layer.
Yes, it's the
timeshare.
timeshare. It's a timeshare torture area. I think I might have a timeshare in this.
And the great part is it's kind of multitasking. Like you can do seminars, you can do meetings, you can do parties, brutal torture, seminars.
I use these for my Wednesday night LARPs.
That's kind of the same thing,
Oh!
isn't it?
Are we in the abandoned mine shaft just outside of town?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's the one from My Bloody Valentine. I mean, that was filmed up in Canada.
Yeah, the original was filmed in Nova Scotia. But anyway, we have one more guest to introduce, and then we can be as wacky as we want. She's got a weekly vlog about video gaming and anime. She's a very talented cosplayer. Please welcome Erica Zabo.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Hello.
Get to hang out with all these weird people.
Actually,
We're
the
not
sad
weird,
thing
we're
is,
eccentric.
So
the sad thing is,
untested.
like, I was going to say the sad thing is by Geek Podcasts, We're about somewhere in the middle.
You're all endearing. We're all endearing.
Ian, are you liking the lunatic fringe of Canada? This is pretty much all of them.
This, I don't know. We didn't find a way to kidnap Mark.
Mir?
Right.
Yeah.
We'll get to him.
They want to
we'll
say
get to
which
him
Mark
later.
that is.
Anyway,
We're gonna grab that weird Mark off the street, the homeless guy, Mark.
The parents aren't giving me enough lessons.
Piss off, flying avocado.
we're going to kidnap him and start showing him movies.
I don't have time for this shenanigans.
I'm so lost.
So am I, but I'm
See,
laughing
maybe
anyway.
we should actually start talking about just what it is you guys do on These Warriors Are Terrible.
Oh.
This exact thing we're doing right
Pretty
now.
much.
Pretty much.
Occasionally we have horses that have mustaches, though.
One time.
Yeah.
They will come back. You watch.
Like that happened once. That happened one fucking time, you guys, and this is where we are.
So the question is the mustache or cutie mark? Or are we speaking the literal sense?
Oh, it's a mustache.
There were no cutie marks in that game.
I wish I thought about that. Although I tried to name my horse Derpy Hooves and Mike got mad at me.
Yo,
I can't imagine
really?
why.
Somehow Connell was the one that got hit with the mace during that public.
The whole show.
I can't imagine why.
T-shirts and stuff.
Oh yes, that was another thing. If you go onto Steam, if for those of you who know the game Gary's Mod Prop Hunt, if you go on there, one of the sound bites from that episode of These Warriors Are Terrible is now officially like one of the upgrades you can download from the Steam place for one of the taunts you can do in the game, which is "Can my horse have a mustache?"
Basically, my plan for the podcast was just to
We have a
basically
plan?
tell funny role-playing game stories from the site or from your own experiences. So, what do you got, guys?
Well, I could tell you about a Pathfinder game I was in a couple weeks ago where first roll of the game, I'm playing a bard. My first time ever playing a bard. It's the first official Society Pathfinder game at the Gauntlet Comics in Orangeville, Ontario. And the cool thing is, I'm like, all right, cool, official play, sanctioned play. I can take this character to Gen Con if I want. I'm almost killed by a monkey pirate with a knife.
That's awesome.
Yeah, critical hit. He almost crits me. I have 8 hit points. He deals 7 points of damage. I decide, okay, well, I'm going to try and fight him. Turns out my character is a ginormous pussy. My first attack misses. And I'm like, okay, fuck. CMB, what are you going to do? Shove marbles down his throat. So I decide to roll my combat maneuver bonus, and my character carries marbles with him because they can trip people up. I figured, why not? Somehow I managed to fuck that up and get bit by the monkey, lose a hit point, and basically lie on the deck near dead until the fight resolves.
That is amazing.
Oh, yeah. And then I was almost killed by a flying snake. Then I'm like, fuck it, I'll be in my bunk. I hid on the ship. I'm like, fuck it, you tell me when the fight's over. I'll come up and sing a song and help you out that way. Otherwise, fuck that. I'm in my house. I'm out.
I just want to assume that there's that moment that, you know, they had that dice roll and you realize that you never actually got the shot for the bite and you died anyway.
It's only because someone was able to stabilize me that I actually survived. But oh my god, the first roll of the game, I'm like, all right, playing a bard's gonna be cool. It's gonna be awesome. I can sing a song. I'm gonna be so neat. Oh, fuck this. This is why I should never venture outside of sorcerer and fighter.
This is also why you don't play somebody who plays music and also tries to fight things. It's like an oxymoron.
I sing! That's my bardic ability. I can also tell tales. I figure, you know what? All you gotta do is tie my fucking mouth shut. And then you can disable me. But otherwise, I can do whatever the hell I need to. So I figure,
Facing off against 30 orcs or something like that. It's like, what do you want me to do? Tell them a story to death? Fuck.
I can! At a high enough level, I can deal damage.
Just attach an axe blade to your loot.
And they were forced to eat Robin's minstrels.
I'm just trying to think of what a story that hurts people would sound like, and I immediately think of Archer, and he's just like, yeah, so a little girl tried to save a puppy from drowning. Little girl drowned. Oh my god, that's terrible. Yeah, the puppy drowned too. Oh my god!
Well, the important thing about the story is that I had an onion tied to my pants, which was the fashion at the time.
God damn it, Grandpa.
I'm sorry, I just imagined Peter Chimera fan fiction being read out to people.
It's happened before. Peter Chimera once communicated with the Con Bravo audience entirely in text messages sent to Tom.
Oh my
What?
god.
And was Tom struggles to read the text messages on stage.
What a majestic bastard.
Yeah, it was a solid plan.
So are we
That's mine.
Oh, swap.
Next.
are we swapping stories now? Oh, okay.
Tag in.
Okay, well,
Okay,
I'm tagging Big Mike because he's fucked up.
All right. go for it.
all right, Big Mike, come on down.
Okay. Are we asking for wacky stories that have seen the eye of day, or just like my normal Tuesday night sessions? Because that shit gets nuts.
Whatever you can come up with, man. Whether you've played in it, GM'd it, whatever.
It's nuts. I like that.
I prefer GM story because if the podcast is any indication of your regular GM skills, then I got it. Then I got to hear some good GM stuff.
It's not, because the podcast I hold back.
Oh God.
You have to understand, my Tuesday night sessions are where I practice and where I'm allowed to make mistakes. About 4 of my friends are now playing the actual. You know how Pathfinder has their 6-volume module sets, right?
Yeah.
For a story arc, we're doing the Kingmaker one because I decided I'm going to take 4 of my friends who have a similar sense of humor to me and slowly turn them into kings of a lawless land. I didn't really consider the flaws in this strategy because they actually forgot they were employed through the entire beginning of the module.
Employed.
Yeah, they were employed to actually settle this land, and when the notice came back, they actually literally turned at me and screamed, "We're employed?" Yeah, what'd you think we were doing? We thought we were running around the countryside killing people. This was 4 months. They were
Wow.
playing this module. They had no idea.
Oh my fucking god.
So, in the course of this adventure, the paladin has slowly degraded mentally into Mermaid Man from SpongeBob SquarePants, and I make no word of a lie of that. Because he does. Yes, that's actually what he does. And what happens is he found that there's a potion called a Potion of Eagle Splendor, which ups a charisma, which for a paladin ups his damage and his detection abilities. So he does 3 things every game. 1, he drinks a Potion of Eagle Splendor, which we're going to start penalizing him for now because we're going to add addiction rules to it. Because he does it every day, nonstop. 2, he detects evil. 3, if he detects evil, he immediately screams it like Mermaid Man, goes evil, and charges in. And somehow he passes climb checks when this works, because paladins shouldn't climb ever, but he does, and it works.
He manages.
And he starts grappling things, even though he has a longsword on his back, just because it feels better. And the hilarious thing is, the guy who plays the paladin has never seen SpongeBob SquarePants. He's just been saying it exactly like Mermaid Man every goddamn time.
Just cause.
Just because
That's
he thought it
awesome.
was appealing. And he comes, and we had to show him a clip of it. He's like, "Holy crap, that's a weird coincidence." And we screamed at him, "Are you serious? You didn't know this was happening."
How could you not know?
The most insane thing I've done recurring to my players is when they built up their town, they have a herbalist called Boken, who sounds like a weird mesh between Don Knotts and Krillin from Team 4-Star.
Oh dear God.
Yes.
So I decided to just randomly make potions for my local liege lords, and that's how he talks. You roll randomly to see what he makes, what the herbalist makes, and that was a potion of control undead. So we looked at what the highest possible thing he could have controlled was. He went into the mountains and found a wraith, and accidentally let it loose in the town. It was called Philip.
Philip.
The ring.
The rate.
Philip the Wraith.
That's what makes this story. Just end it with he was called Philip.
Well, all you just see is just Boken holding down back his front door as like the player characters walk up. It's like, "Boken, what are you up to?" "Nothing." Bam, bam, bam. "Still nothing." Bam, bam, bam. "Nothing's really loud today."
Quack.
And also, he's
The
also the town
majestic
artist.
space deck.
He's also the town artist. But moving on. I've spoken too long.
For some reason, Mike, isn't there a story where one of your characters was eating crayons? I vaguely remember this on Facebook.
I don't recall that. So,
Tell us the crayon story, or we'll assume that it happened in real life.
it didn't actually. I don't think it's happened.
Okay, so-
But at
Oh,
Con
no.
Bravo, I will eat a crayon.
Good for you.
Oh boy.
Oh no. I dropped the deck of many things in front of them, and the paladin ate and picked up the card that makes you stupid.
Hey, it's okay.
Which is-
It says not toxic.
Well, so he kind of started wandering around. Just kind of went bad. Really bad. Like really, really bad. He started wandering into things through walls. Anyway, I'm done.
I actually have a paladin story as well.
Oh, here
Way back in the day, I was playing in an old AD&D second ed campaign called Menzo Baranzan. And this was the whole box set that introduced the drow. And so my friend Aaron is running it, and I can't even remember what I was playing. But one of the members of our party is a paladin. And within about the first 10 minutes of playing Menzo Baranzan, your characters are hired by a guy named Lambec Ruthvan to transport him to a cave. So you go there, and he immediately taps on the secret door of the cave, and a drow walks out. The paladin looks at the drow, goes, the player goes, "Drow chaotic evil, right?" "Yeah." "Drow!" The paladin runs forward, critical hits, decapitates Lambec Ruthvan, the NPC who's supposed to guide you through the adventure. The drow goes, "What the fuck?" The entire party jumps the drow, the secret door closes, and that's how we failed Menzo Baranzan.
Did I just accidentally a war?
Oh boy.
Yeah, that was... a lot of D&D games in the day used to go like that, though. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you have chaotic goodism... lawful goodism alignment, which is generally played as lawful stupid.
Yeah, that hasn't changed much.
No.
Uh,
All right, Connell, what you got?
The one Pathfinder session that we had when we were playing with Terrible Warriors, I believe Dodd was running that game, is that right?
Yep, that was me.
You're talking
Yeah.
about Nightmare Lake?
I believe so, yes, where I basically got to play Batman.
Yep.
Yes. This is actually one I wanted to talk about specifically.
Yeah, it was because I'm like, I have never played a rogue in any game, and Pathfinder is basically just fixed D&D 3.5. And they're skill monsters. Like, they just have insanely high skills. They can do all kinds of stuff. And I've always wanted to try in direct combat. So they give us these items. I get a ring that helps me sneak like I'm practically invisible. And I get these boots of Featherfall. And I was like, okay, so what am I going to spend all my money on? Well, I'm just going to spend it all on things like Thunderstones, which are flashbang grenades, caltrops, and I couldn't afford Tanglefoot bags, so I bought a fishing net instead. And I'm like, okay, so we get to this inn, and there's a countess that was apparently in town, so I'm like walking up to people bluffing about being like a dock worker, asking them where she's staying and some stuff. Like, oh, she's actually staying in the inn that we're going to. I was like, oh, okay, so whatever. We get in there. Big Mike decides with his bard he's gonna like have a rock show on the main floor, and
I
starts,
play Tenacious D, so
Yes,
Yeah.
you did.
he starts like threshing out sweet licks, and I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity. I'm going to go on a panty raid.
God, it was a pity, right?
And I was just like,
How did that
and
go?
God was literally like, yeah, and so I was like, hey, fine, I'm going to use my ring. And I'm like rolling almost a 20 every time. So I have like something like a 30-odd sneak roll. And so I'm like fucking disappear upstairs, sneaking along, get all the way to the top floor. I'm like, okay, so this is obviously must be the Countess's room. And I get there, and there's somebody about to assassinate her. What was supposed to happen, from what Mike tells us later, is we were supposed to just find her body there, but because I decided to go on a fucking panty raid, I caught this guy mid-assassination. I pull out a crossbow, shoot the sword out of his hand by rolling a fucking 20, throw a flashbang on the ground, and while they're stunned, like, grab this woman, leap out the window, using boots of Featherfall to land on the ground and then run back inside. People are like, what the fuck are you doing? And I run in, and people are trying to fight him on the main level, somebody loses control of their magic flaming sword and it
I
goes
remember
flying
this
out the
story
window.
specifically.
Yeah.
That was Justin.
That was Justin Eacock.
Oh my god,
for
and
these words.
Tom was walking his pet chicken outside, and this flaming sword
Like
comes
you do.
careening out the window, stabs, and instantly cooks this chicken. Like, that's how amazing he failed.
His
Now,
name
it's
was
worth noting-
Reginald, and he was delicious.
It's worth noting that Justin was playing a cleric, and he had his holy symbol for his spells on the flaming sword, which he pitched out the window, impaled the chicken, and roasted it. And I refer to that story, like, whenever I relay that to people, I refer to that story as the secret origin of Chick-fil-A.
This is how Chick-fil-A came to be.
Yes.
Just in case you were curious.
And to add insult to injury, that was the one time per day that he could activate the flaming power on that sword.
The one time he can use it, he uses it to kill someone else's pet.
And I think it was Big Mike that had the giggle fit from that, wasn't it?
Oh God, I died.
We all had the giggles on
So
that.
good.
I
It was
lost because
so perfect.
the second it went out the window, I'm like, please tell me it hits the chicken. Please tell me it hits the chicken. And it hit the chicken. I'm like, and I was the one who remembered. I think I was the one who remembered first that he had left his holy symbol on the sword specifically so he wouldn't lose it.
Yeah, he'd attached it to his sword so that it wasn't like that he couldn't lose it was his plan.
And it went right out the window and hanging there like it was freaking autograph. I killed chicken.
Yes, flaming sword stabs his chicken, roasts it on the spot, and it's got the holy symbol of a guy he knows hanging right off of it. Oh
And
my
Tom's
God.
character was already mentally unbalanced to begin with.
So, I'm running back in to go upstairs to try to capture this guy. Derek's mage uses detect magic to find the assassin using like a hide spell in the corner, and he's like still kind of disoriented from the grenade. Breaks out. There's a fight between these guys. He ends up getting past them, and he's running down the hallway. And I'm just like, fishing net. And he's like, what the fuck? And manages to dodge it. Runs by me. I throw caltrops on the ground, and he literally turns around. And is like, would you fuck off, please?
I think it's worth noting during that encounter that Derek was playing a halfling sorcerer who went deaf from that thunderstone.
Galvan, good pharaoh!
I threw another thunderstone during that time. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was
This
the
guy's
first
so
one.
mad.
That was
So
the
he
first one.
turns around with his like magical ring and is just like casts a spell to shoot a giant ball of fire at me. Being a rogue, I can do a full dodge. It
And that almost
misses,
kills Justin.
And
It did kill
kills-
Justin.
It actually kills Justin's character instead, which we then have to use our once only revive character item on him.
Which Tom wanted to use on his chicken, I believe.
Yeah, he was
Oh
kind
my
of
God.
he was kind of banking on this. Like, it's okay, we have the revive thing. We killed Justin.
Yeah, I think it was actually Mike gave us that, knowing that we may well die in the course of the adventure, but not expecting that we die that much.
Yeah, not in the
Yes.
second hour. In a town. And then Derek, during this great adventure, decides to piss off more or less Cthulhu as you're running out.
Hey man, I made it very clear from the start that Galvar is the male halfling version of Lena Inverse.
I don't know who that is.
Slayers.
Oh, are you
Slayers.
kidding? Slayers? Give me a
Yeah.
break, man.
Yeah.
Galvar's whole build was that basically he'd run up to bandit camps, stand on top of his giant corgi, put his hands on his hips, and proclaim himself to be the great wizard Galvar Goodbarrow,
This is probably possibly the greatest thing I've ever heard in this podcast.
slayer of bandits, and
I told you, Ian. I told you.
robber of the poor to give to, well, himself. And bluff them into thinking that he was more powerful than he actually was.
It's like the job of any sorcerer, really. It's just
Pretty
Hey man,
much.
I built Galvar so he had unlimited bolts of acid. They
That's
only
true.
did a D4 damage, but god damn it, he could cast them whenever the hell he wanted. Sorry, D4 plus 1?
I think so.
Something
yeah.
like that?
Cast level 1, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a cantrip, but because I'm a sorcerer descended from a copper dragon, I got a... Yeah,
it
I
all
don't
makes
know.
sense now.
Oh, yeah.
I got a +1 to it. So, yeah, no, that was Galvar's build. I love Galvar. I love his dog, Corgus Maximus. If I ever get a Corgi, I will name it Corgus Maximus.
want to hear
Oh,
Erica's
yeah,
story
the
now.
Corgi.
Let's see if
Mine isn't as intricate as your guys, but for me, it's more like those little moments. There's like these random little things that happen in campaigns. So like there was the epic Weedle sacrifice in Pokemon Adventures where we were just it's just one of those things where it's like you have to like I don't know, it's just so good. We just had to make it so much more than it was. Like if it was a Magikarp or something too. Another endearing thing was Justin Eacock's horrible and lovable rendition of Professor Oak.
Oh God, that was
That-
beautiful. Your father, is he a boy or a girl?
That voice too. Oh, and then he did Nurse Joy. That was just too good. Man. Yeah, I feel bad. I don't have anything nearly as intricate, but there's just like little moments, little things that popped up in campaigns I did with these warriors and with my own too. There was also just thinking of the moment like when all hell broke loose in Paranoia XP. That was one of Justin's campaigns. With the attack of Mr. Bubbles and stuff. And then there was Dodd's Evangelion one that was awesome when all hell broke loose, or your Star Wars campaign. That was the first campaign I did with these warriors. I just freaked the hell out. It was awesome. Just having that realization where it's like, oh, what are we going to do? It's like do or die. Another one that was really awesome is before I started doing these warriors, I was doing a long-term D&D campaign, and there was just this moment where we had a danger cart, and we had Andy the mule, who was like the most lovable mule ever. We loved him like he was family, and he sacrificed himself after we were attacked by feral cats. So that was it was a touching moment for us. It was good. It was
God.
just these little things. Little
Did he
things.
get a good funeral?
Yeah, he got a very good funeral.
Good. Did anyone cry at the funeral?
Maybe we might have shed a tear or two.
Good. That's good. It's always sad when a party member goes down.
Actually, funny anecdote. The Evangelion thing that you were mentioning.
Um,
I love like the how really good roleplay got on that. Like
Oh, yeah.
people really got into their characters for
really?
that, and it was super fun to see everybody get super immersed into it. At least my favorite memory I think from that entire thing was I was the only person that took Nerves of Steel out of our entire party, so that when something really fucking crazy happened, like some girl was melting inside of her Ava suit, and everybody's like, and she's screaming over the comm, and everybody's like, oh my god, she's dying, and my guy's like, oh shit, that's a drag.
Yeah, right.
Like,
That
no
was
panic.
hard to take, to be honest. Considering it's Evangelion, yeah, it probably should.
I was gonna say the idea of the Evangelion characters from Evangelion dying horribly doesn't seem like the worst thing ever to me.
But we love Ava.
No, it's
Tread
ridiculous.
lightly,
But
Ian.
still, you should be prepared for it.
Yeah, that was one of the better roleplay sessions. I've been thankful to GM. The only thing I didn't like about that campaign is I don't much care for the GURP system itself. From a mechanical standpoint. I'm much more used to stuff like Shadowrun and Pathfinder in terms of the systems that I like. That one was a bit of a chore because I'm 99% sure that I fucked up most of the rules to that one. Another one that I really wish Tom White was here so he could continue typing excessively loudly while I'm trying to talk.
Sorry.
It's okay. So anyway.
Who did it?
Uh-oh.
So anyway.
Who did it?
So yeah, Tom ran this game called Wild Talents where me and Derek were in. And
The first episode
and so
just aired
Mike.
today, didn't it?
Yeah.
The first episode came out today. You should find it at thesewarriorsareterrible.com.
That one, in terms of intense role playing, I didn't I mean, there was a point in that game in the last episode. I'm not going to tell you what happens. I thought me and Big Mike were going to come to blows. In the back of my head, man, he's going to punch me in the fucking head.
You did come to blows.
I was ready. I was thinking, oh my God, he's actually going to hit me. This is kind of cool, but I don't want to get punched in the face.
Like, what? Did you think I was going to punch you in real life?
Yeah, I thought you were going to hit me, man. Like, oh my God. You became this other person.
Role-playing.
But that's how cool it was. You got that much into it. You live for moments like that as a role player. And that was just one of the best moments I've ever had in my role-playing career, was right then and there when me and Mike were having this big epic moral choice, so to speak, and that's all I'm really going to say about it. But it was amazing.
Let's frame it a bit, because in it, I played Quantum, a sort of a golden age, very much a Boy Scout heroic character. Dodd was basically a very modern, basically a high school student with no regard for anything, including like killing people. So it was kind of this ongoing clash between the two of us throughout the entire campaign, because I was always this Boy Scout that apologized for everything he did, literally everything, nonstop, and him just not regarding anything at all. So eventually, at the end, it kind of came to a head.
Yeah, I mean, It was amazing. The character I played was a guy named the Loner. Basically, I'm trying to think how to describe this guy. Basically, this kid who doesn't care about much beyond himself, and sort of getting involved with these talent characters from this government age kind of gives him a bit of a purpose, or at least it's something to do to kill some time. It might be fun. Maybe I'll get paid. Maybe I'll get laid. And when me and Quantum started working together, it was very
working together.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
It's a really loose word for what happened.
Yeah, because it wasn't really antagonistic, whereas you were very high and mighty. I was like, man, fuck off, sort of thing. Basically, Mike was this huge authority figure, and I was very much the antithesis of that, but not to the like fuck the people and all that shit. It was very much just like I don't care. It's that basically that lazy loser attitude. And like I said, some of the best roleplay came out of the last 10 minutes of that game.
Oh, it was beautiful. That was some really solid roleplay from you guys. Meanwhile, Cassie's standing there going, "No, wait, don't."
Please stop.
I love Cassie in these games. She is a wonderful compliment to how absolutely insane the lot of us get.
She gets really invested in somebody every time.
Yeah.
That's very true. I love how she plays like that. That's why I like being in campaigns with her, just because of that. It's a nice little transition, and it's a nice little dynamic between everybody else too. So everybody, has their own little shtick. You know what I mean?
One of the things that you have, Erica, that I love, like you're in my top 3 people to have in games, because you get so emotionally invested. The first time was fear. Oh my god, you and Alien, you were legitimately like, what the frig is that? And you were like scared to go in there and all that. And then with Ava, between you and Connell, definitely my top 3 moments of all time.
Yeah, I get so serious. I'm not nearly as humorous or silly about it. Like I would love to be, but I just get so invested in it. I just kind of lose myself in it, and I forget. Like it has to be like a really, really funny campaign for me to just be like bursting out, right? But it's really nice when you can get that invested in something like that and get really immersed.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I didn't expect Connell to bust out this big... I don't know, I guess it was this character-defining moment for his character, who isn't an Ava pilot, who isn't really Nerve. You are, like, from the U.S. military developing this new jet alone, that's saying, you know what, those things are weird and scary. This is technology, you can trust this. And then to have him come back and basically bring... what did I call her? Nadira? Was that her name? Leela.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the little Indian girl.
Yeah, and she was basically begging for the pain to stop, her life, as she knew it was over, but she didn't want to become nothing. And then she just asked, and this was the moment when the entire table fell silent. And like as the GM and as the character, I'm trying to emote through it. So I'm trying to build up the tears and get the emotion in my voice. And just trying that will it hurt. Everybody at that table stopped for at least a couple of heartbeats. Yeah. And it was just, wow.
Scared shitless.
Yeah, I just got to say, as a listener of the show and a fan of Evangelion, that was probably one of the most definitive non-canon Evangelion stories I've ever heard in my life. You guys did amazing on that.
Thank you.
I agree.
But there's another campaign that
Uh-oh.
many of you did phenomenal on. Big Mike knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's
I have a
currently
funny idea which one.
It's currently my favorite campaign on These Warriors Are Terrible, and it's known
boy.
as Spirit of the Century.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Connell.
All right, so Big Mike,
Like-
since you were the GM for that one, do you mind talking a little
explaining
bit
how it
about
happened?
what exactly that was, or at least the general idea of what Spirit of the Century is?
Okay, well, the Spirit of the Century RPG itself is very much what you saw. It's a 1920s pulp adventure where not everyone doesn't have all these superpowers, but they're all very gifted individuals. Someone got a phone call.
All right, that was me.
No worries.
And enough of that. Okay.
Okay. And as I was writing it, I was kind of going through old footage of like the old Superman cartoon serials and things like that, and just throwing in little things like the Death Laser was always going to be in there. But I knew who I was playing with. It was because I'd never played with Cassie before, but I kind of had a sense of how she played. But I knew Derek, Connell, and Tom enough to know that if I put a Death Laser on a fixed point, they're going to make fun of it. They're openly going to comment on all the things that are wrong with keeping a Death Laser in a fixed location. Because, the military is going to come and stop you, and you're going to fail after the first couple of shots. And wait, does this thing not pivot at all?
It doesn't pivot at all.
Paul?
It was just aimed at Parliament. Nowhere else.
Yeah, it got to the point where even Connell was suggesting ways to make this thing better, just so the villain, just to show up the villain.
But as I was writing it, it was getting closer to time. The only thing I had was the plot was basically the same as it is now. Nauticus wasn't in it at all, and it was just one of those situations where ninjas attack at the beginning, and Death Laser at the end. I'm like, there's no way I can make this a serious game because it just won't work. So what if I don't, and just have fun? So I did, and I threw Nauticus in.
Oh my God, Nauticus! We still make references to that all over the
Everyone
place.
makes reference to Nauticus. I have fans on my Twitter and on my Facebook, because my Facebook's open to subscribers, who, whenever I reference Nauticus at all on there's 3 or 4 different people quoting him.
I love the way you use that word and then any word in the previous sentence follows.
No. We can either talk about Nauticus, or we can have Nauticus talk about himself.
What would you like me to talk about? It's all dark and deep and very confusing.
I'm sure it is.
It's a metaphor.
No, I'm talking about butt stuff. Metaphors are for sissies. Jesus, man.
No, it's about the
Grab
key.
hold.
Yes.
Be bold. Be assertive.
I like just come and then follow me.
Be assertive for the butt stuff.
Oh God, that was just too funny.
Yes, I'm actually very curious, my lord, about the origin of your amazingly extravagant train. I believe you call it the Penetratus.
Actually, I can't spoil. I can't say where the Penetratus comes from. Sorry, Mike again, because it's going to get revealed in the 1-year anniversary. Small spoiler.
Awesome.
Yeah. I told Derek a bit of what I was planning, and he got legitimately terrified. But for the 1-year anniversary, it's been hinted that several favorite characters are coming back from previous These Warriors Are Terrible games.
So
Nauticus,
full-on crossover.
yeah, Nauticus is coming back because I can't not have him come back, and I have something for him.
Yeah, I remember
Well,
you.
if you know it,
teased that a
if
bit.
anybody knows anything about Nauticus, we always know that he comes twice.
But no, the
Right.
Penetratus
And
started
so am I.
The Penetratus is something Nauticus kind of whipped up over time because it never really got revealed. But I was talking with Connell about it afterwards, and the idea was that if we were ever to go back as a sequel, Nauticus was going to be revealed to be Dr. Methuselah's brother.
Whoa.
Yeah, and he was also going to be a millennial, which kind of explained why he was nuts. And the explanation was he was going to be the spirit of discovery, but he ran out of land to explore, so he tried to discover other things.
Oh my gosh.
In
That's
his
amazing.
pants.
And he's starting to run out again. But that's why the train and all of that stuff. Nauticus is actually the spirit of discovery.
So he is from the hidden universe as Derek's character.
My God.
Is from a place beyond space and time, in a time before men. He is pre-human history. He is a beast from the old times, a terror from the night that came before, the night which seeks to return.
You're over 900 years old, and suddenly everyone says you're old. I have enough of vigor for at least 6 Sabus. I know, I've counted.
For those not in the know, a Sabu is basically a servant on Nauticus's train who is essentially made up to look like a large East Indian man in a turban, a codpiece, and jeweled nipples.
What I find hilarious is no one knows where I ripped that off from. I actually took that from the producers.
That doesn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah, no, there is in the producers' movie, they actually say Sabu champagne, and an Indian guy with jeweled nipples comes out. I'm like, oh, that belongs on the Penetratus.
Of course it
Yeah,
does.
it tickled me a bit. I was wondering if that was like if anything like that was ever going to happen. If like we're talking to the big end villain guy, and he's like, "Oh yes, all of these people were small in my greater, grander plan," and be like, "Oh, and what plan is this? Isn't it obvious?" Turns to the party, the aristocrats.
Oh, God.
Oh God.
Oh.
And going back a little bit, Derek was basically playing, I believe his character's name was Dexter Lancelot Lovelace.
Dexter Lancelot Lovelace, who
Oh,
is
boy.
our version of Howard Phillips Lovecraft.
Oof.
Complete
fun.
with racism, if I remember correctly.
Racism
Yes.
and anti-Semitism.
I don't think I did any anti-Semitic stuff. I tend to draw the line there.
Lovecraft was anti.
No, it was mainly...
Damned Orientals.
Yes, I think
that
that
were not, in fact, Oriental. They were Italian.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
As
What the
if
hell
that
did I
was
miss
less
by not
racist.
playing?
Yeah, the campaign started with
They're both a
the
country.
four
Yeah,
party members getting attacked by Italian mobsters dressed up as, I believe the term was weeaboo ninjas.
Yeah, Cassie.
Yeah,
Wow.
Bruce. Oh yeah, that's right.
Aru! we are ninjas, Aru.
we had to
That's
explain.
what I'm, brothers.
Sorry.
Baru.
We had to explain to one of our co-hosts last night what the weeaboos were.
Yeah, that was me.
That was you.
Yes. I
That
admit I
was
did
pretty
not
awesome.
know what weeaboo meant until I found out last night that it's basically just like hardcore Japan fanboys.
In many ways, isn't it better that wasn't that ignorance before a little bit better?
I don't really think it matters in this context
No,
because it's still hilarious.
this is true.
Because
Yeah,
it's
they-
still a bunch of Italian mobsters who have no idea about anything in Japanese culture, basically just putting on black pajamas and pretending to be ninjas and getting their asses kicked with
Of course,
45s, lightning guns, and just Connell menacing them
Good
with like
times.
sparking
Derek-
power gauntlets.
Derek kept shooting out their legs. They electrocuted them in the river.
I swore to the leader I would shoot a new limb every time he showed up if he kept saying Aru. And by the end of the game, the only limb that he had left was his head that I could have shot. At that point, they just said fuck it and left.
Yeah, they were done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that campaign also had like the greatest villain ever, I have to say.
What, Dr. Apocalypse?
Yes.
He gets overshadowed a bit by Nauticus, which I was honestly surprised that no one got mad at me for Nauticus.
Well, you already like tested it out through, I believe it was 3 gay members of the 404s.
I did. Nauticus is actually technically an inheritance from my dad. He used to be my dad's character. That because my dad would do a gay shtick like that, and it was very close to that. And over the years, I got it, and he became Nauticus. And I always wanted to use him for improv and things like that, or just for something. And I never used him. And this is something I've had since high school. And I've run it past like all 3 of the gay members at the time of the 404. Like one of them is retired. One of them is not gay anymore. But and they loved him to bits, which has surprised me. Because Nauticus, to me, is such an offensive psycho. Because he's trying to fuck everything. He doesn't care. It's just pleasure to him. And everyone's like, no, we love him. It's not that he's this weird omnisexual thing. It's Nauticus. Nauticus would be weird if he was straight. So
He's basically Andy Dick, but with charisma.
yeah.
If you want to put some context to that.
Yeah.
Now I'm just imagining Nauticus being played by Andy Dick.
No.
Oh, gross.
I am so sorry I put that thought into your
I can actually one up that.
John Barrowman.
Yeah, there we go.
I can one up that too. There was this New Zealand show that Carl Urban used to be on even before he did Xena, where he plays a gay hairstylist, and it is the most stereotypical thing ever. So now I'm picturing Carl Urban in his Hawaiian shirt as the gay stylist every time you mention that character.
It's probably pretty close. But no, Dr. Apocalypse was fun because I just took all of the old I'm talking too much over everyone. I picked up all the old psychotic supervillain things, and knowing that Connell was going to be basically playing Dr. Holocaust but as a good guy, I had
Hero at best.
Yeah, my entire goal was with Dr. Apocalypse to piss Connell off.
Yep.
And
you made him to troll Toronto's greatest supervillain, which was the best thing about him, really.
Well, his entire thing was I have to mock Connell in every insane way I can think of. The more deranged my insults get, the better. So I said that his science was weak and inferior, I think.
And then I pushed his thing through a wall.
Yeah, Connell went into his whole scientist rage thing.
You're just like, you're like, oh, we've got you trapped against a wall. We're gonna kill Parliament. We're gonna do these things. Your science is inferior. Oh, you're dead. You're dead.
And then I believe you used this science to fuck his other science to the side of a building.
You have to push his giant ray gun out the building and into the street.
But yeah, no, I knew things were going to start to pay off with that character the second he started, just the first time he showed up on the Penetratus and started mocking people by writing ha 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 in the suit and running across the top of the train with magnet shoes, and Connell immediately figured out he was using magnet shoes.
I was like, wait, we were clanking. He's using magnet shoes. And I could see Mike give me this look like, how the fuck do you know that?
That's something I want in a t-shirt. Oh my god, he's got magnet shoes.
Oh my god, he's got magnet shoes. And then I was like, okay, so wait, if he's got magnet shoes, and then I just like tap the brake and I hear him slam against the roof, I'm like, aha!
Oh no.
Gotcha, bitch!
One fan
I believe
actually promised to
I believe
do fan
Connell's
art of Nuts.
I believe Connell's actual reaction was
Yeah, he does that laugh well.
That entire thing was basically like, it was just like Mike just said, okay, so if you can just science jargon your way through things, I'll pretty much let you do stuff. And I just look him in the face and I go, Mike, you understand this is what I do for a living. This is my career, is to science jargon my way through things. Michael.
That's why I told you couldn't play a rogue this time. It's like, you have to play a scientist. Because you have to science jargon everything to make it work.
Oh god, that was too much fun. I could just basically science jargon my way through anything. It was the best.
On some level, isn't that what every character you play is, Connell?
More or less.
But it works.
Yes.
I actually first met Connell playing in a Mage the Awakening LARP, where I swear to God, I think I saw him try to science jargon his way through magic once.
Yep.
wow.
I want to see that now.
That is some hardcore shit.
Connell, you were playing a Moros, weren't you?
Yeah, I was playing a death mage.
Yeah, and you had Matter as well, though.
Yes.
And Connell's just sciencing his way through. I make this element, and this element, and this element, and together they will explode!
It's like, okay, so I'm basically going to make some water, yeah, and then I'm going to make a pure block of francium. The fuck is that? It goes nuclear when it's put in water. Like, what are you?
And everyone's like, yeah, we're gonna stand back from Raziel now. He's worrying us.
Did you say his name was Razio?
Yes, in Mage the Awakening, all the characters have quote-unquote shadow names, so that you can't learn their real names and have magical power over them. So he was calling his character Raziel.
Okay, I just instantly remembered that from Legacy of Kain.
Yeah, that's where I took the name from.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was... Yeah.
All feels.
I'm going to fill the weird silence for a moment with a RPG story of my own, actually.
Oh, by all means.
Many years back, I ran just after D&D 3rd had come out, I ran a short D&D game for some friends of mine. And the whole concept was that they are the elite guard of this Renaissance-era prince. And there's this big ball going on, and there are rumors that someone's going to assassinate the prince. And they hear these rumors because they get a note telling them to come to behind whatever tavern it is in the city. And they meet a guy there, and he emerges from a cloak of invisibility. And he's got a big slouch hat on, so they can't quite see who he is. He's all done up, and he says, I've heard rumors that the spider cult has been resurrected and is sending one of their elite spider monks to go kill the prince. And it will happen on the eve of the ball, at the precise stroke of 8 o'clock. And the players all look at me like, is that it? Is that it? Do you have any more info for us? Spider cult! Not helping. Spider cult.
Yeah, spider cult. No, you said that part. Do you have anything else to follow that up?
You have friends inside the court. And he pulls his cloak of invisibility shut and vanishes. And the players are standing around, they're like, yeah, wow, that's something. And my friend Jonah, who's playing 14th level sorcerer, 1st level wizard. He went to wizarding school and then got kicked out. Goes, you know what I do? Detect invisibility. Sphere of detect invisibility, 60-foot radius. I'm like, well, okay. You see the guy holding his cloak around him and sneaking out of the alley. My friend, who was it? It was John, I think. John's playing a 15th level fighter. He's this old grizzled soldier. And he's like, yeah, I jump him. Okay. Great. What do you know about the conspiracy? I told you everything I know. Really? Well, would you tell us more if we took your magic hat? And they pull his hat off him. The PCs proceed to interrogate this guy by continually stripping every single article of clothing off of him while holding him by his ankles until he is completely naked.
Oh my God.
And all the while he's protesting, he's like, I've told you everything I know. My bosses in the conspiracy just sent me with a message about the spider cult.
Please believe me.
Yes! Why would I lie at this point? Guys, I don't even have a real PC class. I'm a 3rd level noble. And so the PCs are like, fine, I think this guy might have told us everything he knows. And so they leave with all this stuff. And
but just in case, I'm going to keep your trousers.
Yeah, well, the problem was none of the PCs. The mage had the ability. Well, the sorcerer had the ability to detect invisibility. He didn't have detect magic. So he didn't know which of the guy's items was the magical invisibility thing.
Oh.
So they just took everything for good measure. And anyway, the adventure progresses. The prince is attacked by the spider monk. They fight the spider monk. They track her to the spider cult. And they arrive at the spider cult as the spider priest is doing his big ritual to summon Lolth out of the abyss. And he's laughing at them, saying, ha ha ha, you can't stop me now. And at the start of the game, John, playing a soldier, said, I want my weapon specialty to be rifles. I just want to have a brace of flintlock rifles with me. I said, okay, you know they're like one shot and it takes forever to reload, right? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. That's why I carry 7. Okay. So the guy's in mid-sentence. John pulls a musket off his shoulder, says, I'm not getting paid to listen to this shit. Opens fire. And since he has 3 actions in a round, grabs a rifle, opens fire, grabs a rifle, drops 3 muskets on the ground in the space of about, 3 seconds. Puts 3 bullets into the guy's chest, and the head priest drops over dead.
Oh my God.
I'm not getting paid to listen to this shit.
I don't have to listen to you. You're not my dad. Bang.
Oh, dude, I did have a story, but I'm not sure it can stack up.
Derek, no, you've got to tell the story of them white people problems. Do you remember that one?
Oh, dear God.
Yes, I remember white people problems.
Get the hell with my story. Tell yours.
Okay, so
This is story time with Derek.
I'm in this big LARP organization called the Camarilla. And we have conventions where we do lots of LARP. So I went to a LARP convention back in 2009. We're playing Mage the Awakening. And to set it up, the character that I'm playing is half East Indian. And so we're just kind of... It makes sense in the later statement that we find out that the whole problem behind this plot, there are earthquakes in the middle of New York State. There's a mountain that looks like it's going to spontaneously turn into a volcano somehow. And we track it all back, and it turns out that the whole problem was caused by mountain spirits who used to be allies of the local native tribe, who, when white mages came over from Europe, imprisoned because they thought they might be dangerous. And this caused all kinds of shit to happen. Without these spirits being on top of the spiritual ecology, plagues went rampant, wolves went rabid, the whole place went to shit. And then about a generation later, these white mages came back and said, you know what we might have done, guys? I think we might have fucked things up. So we should probably, in the spirit of being very guilty for all of our actions, we should probably make the token gesture of at least letting the native spirits go. So they did. The spirits, locked away for 100 years, have in this time gone completely insane, and basically decided that the only way to set the world right is pretty much to kill every single human being. And so, the European mage just went, guys, I think we might have fucked shit up worse than before. And so they locked them away again. 200 years later, when a group of local mages, descended from these European guys, find something in one of their granddad's notebooks. It's like, hey guys, so do you know a couple hundred years back how our ancestors locked away these native spirits? You know, that was kind of a douche move of them. We should let them out. And they did. And the spirits in these intervening centuries have got even crazier. And so, to summarize the entire plot, my PC, who's named Akshaya Kumara, turns to one of his other mage friends and says, you know what this all comes down to? White people problems. The
Them's
entire
honky problem.
plot was caused by white guilt. We did terrible things to the natives, and it's very true. Very terrible things were done to the natives, and like fucking horrible things. But our token gesture of trying to fix it, we give you insane spirits that we created in the first place. We're helping.
Y'all want some crazy spirits? You guys? Let's make things better, right, you guys?
When Derek first told this story to us, I think we were sitting in Big Mike's basement.
Yeah, after we recorded Pendragon.
And Derek looks at me with this big grin on his face and his fucking top hat. He's like, them's honky problems. Lost my shit.
It was bad. Oh, that was... I feel bad about the way I phrased it, but it was the only way that I could summarize that plot.
Pretty much.
I'm having flashbacks to the one time my friends let me play a ninja.
Oh, God.
I thought, yeah. For Pathfinder, we used heroic rolling, which you roll so many d6s and get the highest value from those rolls. I got a guy who had a +5 to strength and dexterity and a +7 to charisma at level 1, which is really powerful for Pathfinder. So the GM made one very fatal mistake. He decided to rob all of us at the very beginning of the game. And just, you've been robbed. You have none of your stuff back. What are you going to do? To which my character's response was, I'm going to start murdering guards until I get everything back, including the 42 gold that I'm owed. You're going to kill guards for 42 gold? Yes. Got all my equipment back. But I couldn't get my money back before we lit the guardhouse on fire. So I decided, in the process of getting robbed, we had learned that there's someone commanding the guards of the city to kidnap people and use them in these terrible rituals that we had just managed to survive. I didn't care about that. I wanted revenge for the 42 gold that I had lost. So I started going on a killing spree, murdering city guards. And my entire plan was I was going to start a chain of murder until I found who was responsible, because he was in shrouds and stuff, and say to him when I found him, was the 42 gold worth it? I started murdering thieves and guards to make them fight each other, to think it was both sides fighting when it was just me. I, at one point, decided to rob a thief of his clothes while running past him. And I rolled a 20, so I actually run past him, rip his clothes off, and run up a wall, dressed as a guard.
That's some guard. Holy
It's like the Count of Monte Cristo, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
But the most excessive thing I did was I rolled a natural 20 with my charisma bonus on a disguise check. And they said, and the GM didn't ask me what I wanted to be beforehand. I said I want to be a woman.
Oh no, this story.
So I ripped a curtain off a wall, wrapped it around myself, took 2 rocks I found on the ground and shoved them to make them breasts, took a mop and popped it on my head and broke off the handle, and started bluffing the underground fight circuit so I could get my friend, because my friends were all playing fighters, and I was their manager. So all you hear is me in a very masculine voice saying, "Come on, Daddy. Give them a higher ante and I'll make it worth your while."
What
I'm
the
scared.
fuck?
And all my friends are just watching me and listening to me talk like this. And eventually, God bless them, I got back to the hideout and they completely role-played it that they didn't realize this hot chick was me. They're like, "Hey, baby, how'd you get in here?" It's like, "Hi, guys." "Oh, Jesus, it's the ninja." As I'm slowly undressing and walking up to my room pouting.
Mike, you're fucked.
Yeah.
In the best possible way.
That's why we're friends.
Yes.
So does
He's
anyone
exactly,
buy?
he's
Sorry.
exactly the right amount of mentally disturbed to be the perfect GM, which is what I've been saying this whole time.
Thank you. I don't consider myself the perfect GM. I make a lot of mistakes. Like a lot.
Well, for the sake of storytelling and entertainment value, you're definitely near the top, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
And that actually right there says something about the ethic behind the show, is that what we're playing is really almost more for the entertainment value of the audience
Yeah.
than at times necessarily accurately playing the role-playing game.
Don't sell yourself short, Derek. You guys seem pretty entertained yourselves a lot of the time.
Oh, no, it's very, very true. But we have a lot of discussions about this, that when we play, we're only maybe 30% playing for us. We're 60% playing for the audience. We're trying to play our characters and present ourselves in a way that is entertaining for the listeners.
You're about
Because
10% short there, buddy.
Mhm.
Gay jokes.
10% is filled with monsters.
There you go. Erica enjoyed the math humor on that one, I guess.
I sure did.
I'm not good at math. That's why I'm a librarian.
Oh boy.
So does anyone mind if I share the story of when I first attempted to play D&D?
Do it.
Yes.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to tell my story afterwards.
Okay. So I decided I was going to play as a thief because in my mind in junior high, that sounded the most promising. And then when they brought up the idea of good, evil, chaotic good, chaotic neutral, I decided to go to chaotic neutral because I figured that gave me the most options. So that my first instructions. Okay, so there's an old lady in front of you. I tried to kill her. Okay, roll your die. I rolled a 2. Okay, so she turns around and beats you, and then you're arrested by guards. And then after being arrested by guards, I was basically bribed out of the prison, and the king put me on probation for like our first 2 missions. And so I finally got through that, and I decided, you know what, fuck it. This is more fun to do it this way. I went in as, after everything had finally been fixed, we ended up being short a player. Hello?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, brother.
We ended up being short of.
We're listening to you.
We're enthralled. Continue.
Yes.
I'm on Circuit 4. I'm not used to people listening to me. So
We're polite. We're Canadian.
oh no.
You're surrounded by polite Canadians hanging on your every word.
And Mike Dodd.
Yeah.
Polite Canadians and one horn dog, but anyway.
It's true.
Okay. So what happens? Actually, Mike, that kind of plays into it. So everything was finally good. And then I meet the king's daughter. And I end up becoming attracted to the king's daughter. And by the end of the second mind you, this is only the second round of our game. Not the second round, the second part of our campaign. I'm found naked inside the bedroom of the king's daughter by the king, and I'm literally sent back to prison again. They end up actually taking at least 3 tries until I would stop making trouble. Until I'd stop making trouble, and then finally we went on a mission proper because I stopped trying to do stupid shit. And that was my first and second time playing D&D.
You gotta be a shit disturber sometimes, you know?
Well, yeah.
Of course.
That's the best way to play. Fuck with everybody's plan.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's like, you found an old lady. Kill her. Are you sure?
I stabbed
Yes.
the old lady.
Oh.
Right.
Funny enough, the term shit disturber plays into my story a little bit.
Tell us a story.
Yeah.
Please.
A few years ago, I was playing a D20 campaign, and it was with a new group that I never played with before. And the setting was kind of like the Crusades. It was actually similar to the setting of the first Assassin's Creed. So we're all put on a mission to go to a city and rescue kidnapped princess, basically. So we get to the city, and we go to the mansion where we're meeting our client, who's hired us to rescue the princess. And once he tells us all our mission, he insists that we stay the night and rest up, and that we all bathe because we were rather pungent from our journey. And it was revealed to us that this place was so lavish and extravagant that it actually had indoor plumbing, including a toilet. So my immediate reaction to that was basically to say, I'm tempted to roll a poop check just to see what happens. Now, I decided not to because, like I said, it was my first time playing with this group. I didn't want to come off as a shit disturber right away. So I decided not to. The guy next to me did, and he rolled a 1.
So
He
fails at
literally
shitting?
broke.
Oh.
He literally broke his ass on this poop check. He took physical damage. But here's the thing: we were all given plot twist cards, which are basically cards that you can get if something goes wrong. You can play a plot twist to try and turn it around. Just the way his plot twist card was, not only did he hurt himself taking the shit, he broke the toilet to the point where a giant hole opened up in the floor into the sewer and offered us a stealthy way into where the princess was being held. Yeah. So it helps having a creative and somewhat demented GM for situations like that.
That's-
Yeah.
You can just imagine being the GM, like, fuck, everyone's trying to take a shit on this toilet. I guess I better make it relevant.
Pretty much, yeah. So, yeah, I think that's all. I think that's all the time we had. This has been like an amazingly fun podcast. I thank you all for taking the time out to come here and just go on about your own personal madness, such as it is.
I apologize for the technical details on my end.
That's okay.
Shit happens. What are you gonna do?
It happens. So, yeah, this is where we'll bring it to a close. I I am Shane Fitzgerald, and it's been my pleasure to have Mike the Birdman Dodd.
Yeah!
Big Mike Chindamo from the 404s.
Thank you very much.
Derek the Bard.
From Chasing the Muse, be seeing you.
Connell Macbeth, a.k.a. Dr. Holocaust.
Yes.
And Erica Zabo on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And as I said, I'm Shane Fitzgerald. I've been joined by Ian McIntosh.
Woo! I'm Zadie.
Yeah. And yeah, be sure to check out other podcasts like this on circuit42.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and keep riding the circuit at Circuit 42. Till next time.
Woo!
We're done? Are we done?
Yeah.
Yep.